From the biggest stories in the NFL to Super Bowl takeaways to Friday Night Lights right here in Abilene, Texas. Local teams like Abilene High, Cooper, Wiley, to the Abilene Bighorns, Abilene's newest indoor arena football team. If it's played on the field and it's football, Carsten covers it. Carsten is breaking down all things football. This is more than highlights. This is the work behind the wins, the mindset behind the moments, the lessons behind the glory. Nothing is given, everything is earned. This is Grind Game Glory.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Grind Game Glory. This is our third episode of the season of the series, and I'm just excited to bring with you this new episode of Grind Game Glory. Today, we're going to be talking about George Pickens. And, obviously, we did a teaser, and we talked about how we're going to talk about him and have our two guests here. This is Jaden and this is Jeff. How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
That's good.
Glad
That's
to be
good.
here.
Yeah.
What? Let's just get into further depth. How'd you guys first find out about George Pickens?
You mean like, is he going to stay with the Cowboys?
No, like how'd you find out about him? Who told you about George Pickens?
Well, I first learned about Pickens when he got traded to the Cowboys.
Okay.
I knew about him before that, but I wasn't as familiar with him. And once he joined the Cowboys, I started really looking into depth about his background and his abilities and what an asset he might be to the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a great player. And Jaden, actually, he was the one who introduced me to George Pickens. And, he was a Steeler before, and Jaden, you've liked him ever since. Jaden, how did you become so much of a fan of George Pickens?
Well, it started off when he was in Pittsburgh and he made that crazy one-handed catch, and I was just like, gosh, that was a crazy catch. And then I was just super, super excited when he got to the Cowboys because Cowboys is my favorite team, and I was super excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was one thing if you had to just like put it out there like that made you be like, yeah, that's my favorite player now?
I'd say his ability to catch, run, and his juking is very nice, and his hurdling in that Green Bay game.
Yeah, the Green Bay game was pretty amazing, man.
Yeah.
Jeff, same question. What are some things about George Pickens that really make him pop for you? That make him, kind of a all-around great player for you?
Well, I think his leadership skills. It seems like he had a few issues with the Steelers, but ever since he's come to the Cowboys, seems like he's found a home, and he's really gelled with the Cowboys, which is important because you can have a lot of skills and things like that, but if you don't blend with the team or if you're a disruptive source, then it's not going to work. And he has really gelled with the Cowboys, and him and CeeDee Lamb are just two players that seem to really get along well, and so you need that kind of cohesiveness in your team. And then beyond that, his playing ability. He can juke, he can catch, he can run. He has the spectacular catches and all that, so he can do all the above. And he's really a number one receiver. We got two number one receivers.
Yeah, we do. We do.
So those things.
Yeah, that's great answers. And so on another note, we're going to talk about all the things that George Pickens did during his season with the Cowboys. First season, he had a great season. And we're going to talk about kind of recap what he did, but first line of discussion is, how do you guys think George Pickens did all around, like season long?
You want me to go first?
Yep.
Well, he had this past season.
Yeah,
he had a great season. I forget the exact yards, but somewhere between 1,400 and 1,500 yards receiving, I believe. And so that led the team. So I mean, that's as good as it gets. I mean, that's Pro Bowl type numbers there. And so we got a situation where if one player like CD is maybe not having such a great game, then Pickens can pick up the slack and vice versa. But he had a great season. He had a lot of yards and his big impact on the team.
All right, Jaden, what did you like out of George Pickens the most this season?
I'd say the catch against the Eagles and his exhilarating like running and catching. He just played like crazy this season, and there's one thing that I can't say. I think he'll be a Cowboy for the rest of his seasons.
Yeah,
with the
I do think that as well. He's going to get that long-term extension. But let's talk about some plays now. Okay, so we're kind of going to go into further, depth of what plays specifically. And the play that we're going to talk about now for the first line of discussion is the catch they had against the Eagles, 2 defenders. What a great catch. What did you think about that catch? What was your reaction when you saw that catch live?
Well, it was just an amazing catch, and it just shows his skill level and his concentration to be able to make a catch like that. And it was just exciting to watch as a fan. You'd like watching those spectacular type catches and plays. And so it kept moving the ball in the first down marker, and so it was just something that was very helpful to the team. But it was very exciting.
Very exciting. Jaden, what do you think about that play?
Oh, I think it was crazy. Like, 2 defenders, like only a few people could do that in the NFL. Like that's
only a few players.
That's one of the craziest catches I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like your entire life of watching football.
Yes.
It's just I agree. I 100% agree. And then another play that we can talk about is probably the catch that he had against No, it wasn't a catch. It was a catch and run against Kansas City. Excuse me, sorry, but it was Thanksgiving, I believe, right? Thanksgiving, that was that game, and he had that great hurdle against the star cornerback for Kansas City. He just hurdled right over him. What do you think about that play?
Well, again, it's just an amazing play. Be able to hurdle like that and to keep his balance and keep going is just something exciting to see, and it just tells to his level of ability what he can do. And so it just puts a fear in the other teams because you can't just, really do one-on-one with him. And so it makes it very difficult for other teams. But it was a spectacular play.
Yeah, just spectacular. I agree 100%. We kind of have to skim through this a little bit, but Jaden, what was one play that from George Pickens' season that was obviously a top play from this season with the Cowboys that always is going to stick with you forever?
I'd probably say the Eagles catch against those 2 defenders, because that was crazy, because the Eagles just won the Super Bowl in 2024. Like that was crazy. So to me, I feel like it was super nice to just see him play throughout his years, and especially now when he's with the Cowboys, it's just crazy to see, in my opinion.
It's crazy to see. Very crazy to see. Now, let's go into the Panthers game. So, Panthers game was his most, yardage-wise game. He had the most yards in that game. And he had a couple questionable, he did some questionable things, but he still got yards. So I'm not gonna put any shade on him for that. But there's one play in particular that I think that you, Jeff, really like to see. That catch over J.C. Horn, Dak Prescott straight up just threw it to George Pickens. It was a great throw. It was an even better catch, and he ran for it, and he hurdled the Panthers defender, and it was just one of the greatest things you'll see from a Cowboy player probably for a long time. I think that was just a great play, but go ahead and give your insight about it.
Well, yeah, that play sticks out to me also. It was something that, again, shows his ability and what he can do and his focus and concentration and just the excitement when he gets the ball. He can run with it, he can hurdle, he can catch. You don't know what he's going to do. And that takes a lot of pressure off the other receivers. But that was just another spectacular play that was really exciting and fun to watch. And so it's great to watch him play.
Yeah, it is. It's very great to watch him play. Jaden, just don't really go, further into depth. Just one word to describe how you felt. One big word, how you felt when George Pickens did that.
Oh, excited.
Yep, just excited. That's a nice answer. In my opinion, I think it was So at that time, I remember it was a Panthers game, so I didn't really expect much, really, honestly. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, dang, this is like entertaining. And I was just super shocked and surprised and amazed by the fact that George Pickens, another great hurdle. And I just thought that it was a great play. But basically nothing else to say. But on another note, George Pickens in that game again, he had another great play. He slipped. Do you remember he slipped? He was doing like a hitch route, or it was like a sluggo or something. He tripped because the defender was pressing him. He tripped, but then after that he went back, caught the ball. He tried to hurdle, but he ended up like doing like a little stiff arm type of move right in the face mask of the defender's helmet. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that made me laugh and chuckle a little bit. You guys agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the defender was ready for that stiff arm. So he got the best of him.
Yeah, that Panthers game was
like
great.
a Super Mario jump.
Yep, yeah, it was. What was one thing, before we get on to another play, because there's a lot of other plays we can talk about, what was one play from that game that was just that was great to have for the Cowboys?
Jaden, you want to?
Probably that one that you just said. It was pretty good, but there was also some just 10-yard catches that he a catch and run for some touchdowns.
He had a 40-yard run.
Yeah, crazy
40-yard
play.
catch and run.
It
It was very exhilarating again. But now let's talk about the other good plays that George Pickens had, and it's some of my favorite plays I've seen in a long time from the Cowboys. Not, definitely in the last decade for sure. But that play specifically is the play that he had against the Raiders. The Raiders, he had another good game. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, they were both balling out on all stages of the NFL world that day, and it basically it was like nice to see. And George Pickens had a couple catch and runs, but the catch and run that I liked the most was the two that he had. Do you remember how he caught the ball? Right, he always caught the ball and like tried to make defenders miss, and then he ended up doing that, and the defenders almost got him down, but like he kept going. He kept going. He stayed in bounds, man. That was just awesome, right?
Right. Well, that shows his ability and his strength, which is important too. And he's not a weak guy. He's strong, and he can tiptoe down that sideline or do the toe tapper catch. And so that just shows his ability, why Cowboys got to get him signed, because of plays like that.
Yeah,
it was
and
fantastic.
Even really what makes me really happy is that Cowboys obviously placed a franchise tag on George Pickens. Let's talk about that a little bit. How'd you guys feel when George Pickens signed that franchise tag?
Oh, I was happy because, in my opinion, I think after that franchise tag, the next year, after the next season, they will sign him immediately. They'll give him the deal that they want, and I think he'll stay with the Cowboys for at least 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years for sure. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I was excited when they did the franchise tag on him, because now they got him locked in and they got some parameters of which they can negotiate now, and he's just not going to wander off and go somewhere else. And so it gives them a window in time to negotiate with them and get him for a decent price.
Yeah, and it makes it kind of it was a non-exclusive franchise tag, but what that means is, you probably know what that means. It means that a team has to give up 2 first-round picks to acquire George Pickens, right? That's highly unlikely, because no one wants to trade 2 first-round picks for George Pickens. So it's very likely that the Cowboys will have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb playing on both sides, just on the same side of the ball once again, and it's going to be very exciting. And I just think that it's going to be exciting to watch. What y'all think?
Yeah, I agree. And, having George Pickens on one side and CeeDee Lamb on the other, that's as good a duo and combo as you're going to have in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's nothing any better than that. And so you got both these great players. One complements the others. And so we're going to have a potent offense this year.
Yeah. I think that's just nothing else to say, really. I got no words. But on a very serious other note, I know we keep talking about this, but another play, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing this. Another play and another play and another play. Okay. So here's another play that George Pickens had. He had another really good catch and run against, I think it was the... He had a lot of good. Yeah, Green Bay. It was a touchdown.
Yeah.
Remember that game? We were watching that game
it was
together,
crazy.
and it was like the best. it's the best. It was like the best moment, one of the best moments in the season. Do y'all agree?
Yeah, crazy long catch.
Yeah, everyone kept hating, saying the Cowboys were gonna lose that game, but actually they tied. They ended up tying it. That's the best you could do. I mean, Green Bay Packers, they were pretty good at that time.
Yeah.
They kind of fell off though. But anyways, another George Pickens play that made me made me kind of just respect him a little bit more because it wasn't really much, but it was a lot at the same time. He had a great catch against the Chargers. He had a back shoulder catch. Remember that? It was after they got knocked out the playoffs. George Pickens and the offense still wanted to generate top plays and get the ball.
And
For those
get
extra
touchdowns.
yards.
Just ride it out to the end.
Yeah.
Just ride it out to the end. I thought that was excellent. I thought that was spectacular. And so is there any play that y'all want to talk about they're like just explosive and exhilarating, just like the other ones we talked about?
I think the plays that we hit on were the ones that highlight for me. Those were the best plays.
Well, let me remind you that the Broncos and the Cowboys game, that was a memorable game, but it was also a forgettable game as well because Cowboys lost that game, but George Pickens, he did play very, very well. Yeah. The Cowboys offense was firing on all cylinders pretty much, but they just couldn't keep up with the other offense, the Broncos offense. But George Pickens had a nice toe tapper. I don't know if you remember that, but he had a nice toe tapper. It was like he was slanted. I'm not really going to explain it much, but it was a really good toe tapper. And then he had a catch and run against the Broncos again. And he has just gosh, what do you think about George Pickens' catch and run ability? There's a lot of catch and run plays to talk about.
Yeah. Well, what I liked about that, he never gave up.
Yeah.
Even though they're defeated
throughout.
He just kept firing away. And again, that's what you want in players.
Players
that never give up.
Yeah, George Pickens was super. Even though the franchise tag was non-exclusive, George Pickens, and they stated, and he claimed that George Pickens was fired up to be a Cowboy again, and obviously, I mean, who wouldn't want to be fired up to be a Cowboy again? It's a privilege, it's an honor, and it's a gift to be a Cowboy because you're with America's team, and it's really nice to be part of that organization.
Yes, it is.
What are some things that you want to say about George Pickens, like personality-wise, what he can bring to the table personality-wise, his energy, the way he can, make people, laugh, just, at the stuff he does, because he does some funny stuff, like, Jaden tells me all about the funny stuff George Pickens does. Go ahead and tell me what George Pickens does. That's funny.
Well, in Pittsburgh, he did have some crash outs. He didn't have the most fun time with the Steelers, but now ever since he got on the Cowboys, he's just been going crazy. In that one interview, he said something about CeeDee Lamb doing something or whatever, and he also did that funny little jump stiff arm or whatever. Yeah, that was also pretty funny.
Yeah, he had this one video. I saw it. This was the game against the Commanders. They won that game. That was a blowout. That was a nice game to watch. But I was actually watching that game at Buffalo Wild Wings. It was so cool. It was very nice to experience. And he had a lot of good plays. He had this one play against the Commanders that was just over the shoulder against Marshawn Lattimore, and Dak fired it right in there, right in the bucket. What do y'all think about that play?
Well, if I'm Dak Prescott, I feel confident. You just throw it up and get it near him, and he's going to catch it. He's going to come.
He's going to catch it every time. Yeah. He's had a lot of
That gives you a lot of confidence as a quarterback. CeeDee Lamb, same scenario. Both players can do that. So it just gives you a lot of confidence as a quarterback. And,
a lot of confidence, yeah.
He's got a lot of pride as a player, George Pickens, and so he's going to try to make that catch.
Yeah, he's gonna make the catch every single time, and I just think he's a very exhilarating player, and that's basically all we got to say about him. And we talked about all the other plays that we needed to talk about: Kansas City, Panthers, all the catch and runs, all the cool stuff, and it was very nice to have y'all here today, and it was an honor to have the two of you with me on this podcast. But that is gonna do it for our third episode of Grind Game Glory. And I'm excited to have you, and we'll see you next time for episode 4. Good night.
We're covering the grind behind the game and the glory that comes from it. Because this is more than highlights, this is the work behind the wins, the mindset behind the moments, and the lessons that last long after the final whistle. Be sure to catch our next episode on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you stream your podcast. And as always, don't forget to check out TPHS Spark Studio on all your favorite socials to stay connected with the voices behind the mics. Nothing is given. Everything is earned. This is Grind Game Glory.